A 5.5-year circumnavigation of the world, 29th of July 2020 to 19th of December 2025. The story of this aircraft's journey around the world began quietly, without ceremony, on the 29th of July 2020 at the Daher Sakata factory in Tarbes, France. There, the TBM930 was taken into the fleet and immediately flown to Nice, where the idea of a global circumnavigation was formed. It was not conceived as a single expedition, nor rushed for the sake of novelty. Instead, it became a long-term commitment, a patient exploration of geography, culture, history, and the realities of long-range general aviation. The decision was made early to fly west to east, taking advantage of prevailing winds and allowing the journey to unfold organically, rather than as a rigidly scheduled campaign. Europe to Asia, the long way east. The first operational leg of the journey departed Nice for Ljubljana, Slovenia, on the 30th of July 2020, marking the true beginning of the aircraft's global travels. From there, the TBM worked steadily eastward through Croatia, Zagreb, the Balkans, Albania, North Macedonia, and onward into Turkey, where Europe gave way to Asia in both geography and atmosphere. Continuing east, the route passed through Iran, Afghanistan, and into India, each leg demanding careful planning and respect for terrain, weather, and airspace complexity. One of the most memorable early chapters unfolded in Nepal, where a multi-stop series included Kathmandu, extensive flying around Mount Everest, and a landing at Lukla, among the most demanding and dramatic approaches encountered during the entire journey. From the Himalayas, the aircraft descended into Southeast Asia, reaching Chiang Mai, Thailand, before continuing to Singapore, where modernity and aviation infrastructure contrasted sharply with the remote mountain airstrips left behind. Australasia, coastlines, deserts, and isolation. The journey then carried on through Indonesia, Bali, East Timor, and finally to Darwin, marking the TBM's first arrival in Australia. What followed was an extended exploration of the continent, a west coast circumnavigation, flights across the Great Australian Bight, a journey along the eastern seaboard, and multiple returns north to Darwin. Central Australia added its own stark beauty, with flights through Alice Springs and over Uluru, before continuing south to Tasmania. From there, the aircraft crossed the Tasman Sea into New Zealand, beginning one of the most visually rewarding phases of the entire journey. Over 10 to 15 flights, both the North and South Islands were explored in depth. Alpine terrain, fjords, volcanic landscapes, and remote airfields, reinforcing New Zealand's reputation as one of the world's most spectacular regions for aviation. Asia revisited and the northern exit. Departing New Zealand, the TBM turned northwest, passing through New Caledonia, the Solomon Islands, Papua New Guinea, and the Philippines, eventually reaching Shanghai, the aircraft's only visit to mainland China during the entire circumnavigation. From there, attention turned to Japan, where a comprehensive tour included Nagasaki, Hiroshima, Tokyo, Kobe, and Sapporo, combining aviation with deep historical exploration. A brief stop in Seoul, South Korea, followed before the aircraft began its exit from Asia via the Kamchatka Peninsula, departing from Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky. Crossing the Bering Sea, the TBM made landfall in Dutch Harbor, Alaska, completing its first transcontinental transition and entering North America. The Americas, from ice to equator and back. A short series of flights through Alaska highlighted the scale and isolation of the far north, before the journey continued south along the west coast of Canada into Tacoma, Washington, initiating an extended exploration of the continental United States. From North America, the route turned south through Mexico, Nicaragua, and Cuba, before entering South America at Pasto, Colombia. A westward detour brought the aircraft to Isla Baltra in the Galapagos, where aviation intersected with the legacy of Charles Darwin and one of the most influential scientific landscapes on Earth. Returning to mainland South America, the TBM followed the spine of the Andes Mountains, visiting Cusco, overflying the Nazca lines, and continuing south through Chile into Argentina. The aircraft reached Tierra del Fuego at the very tip of the continent. a symbolic southern extreme of the journey. Although weather prevented a planned Antarctic flight, the moment marked a geographic milestone nonetheless. The return north followed the Atlantic coast, with stops including Bahia Blanca, Córdoba, Buenos Aires, Porto Alegre, Iguaçu Falls, Rio de Janeiro, Brasilia, and French Guiana, where a visit to Devil's Island provided one of the journey's most sobering historical chapters. Caribbean interlude and final Atlantic crossing. Before turning north in earnest, the aircraft traced a lighter path through the Caribbean, stopping in St. Lucia, Trinidad and Tobago, Puerto Rico, and Nassau, before re-entering the United States at Fort Lauderdale. A short thematic detour followed, visiting sites associated with historic aviation-related music tragedies, including locations connected to Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and Ricky Nelson, blending cultural history with aviation geography. The final and most technically demanding phase began with a winter crossing of the North Atlantic. Preparation included a stop in Halifax, where a cold water survival course was completed before proceeding to Goose Bay, Iqaluit, and onward to Greenland. These flights, conducted in deep winter conditions, represented the highest logistical and operational risk of the entire circumnavigation. From Greenland, the TBM continued to Keflavik, where maintenance issues were addressed, before flying to Edinburgh, Scotland, for a final cultural stop. Completion. On the 19th of December 2025, the TBM930 returned to Nice, France, completing its 175th flight and closing a journey that spanned 5 continents, 174 locations, and over 5.5 years. What began as a single aircraft delivery evolved into a sustained exploration of the world, not as a race, but as a deliberate accumulation of experience. The journey demonstrated not only the capabilities of the aircraft, but the discipline required to operate it realistically across the globe, through changing seasons, terrain, cultures, and operational environments. The aircraft now rests where it began, not as a machine that has merely accumulated hours, but as one that has earned its history.